Hello, everyone, and welcome to episode 292 of the RRBG podcast. This episode is also brought to you by Killcliff. My friends over at Killcliff make the best energy drink you can buy in the market today. Clean energy, none of that crap that they put in Monster or any of those Red Bulls. No sugar, just clean power for all the grind you're going to have to put in today. And if you're not grinding today and you just want to relax, they also have CBD drinks to help you recover from any injuries you may have, any kind of inflammation. Maybe you went a little too hard at the gym. CBD drink will get you right back on track. Go to their website, killcliff.com. Check out all their different flavors. My personal favorite Ignite drink is the Cherry Limeade. And in the CBD category, you have to try the Joe Rogan Special. It's the Flaming Joe Pineapple with Jalapeno. It's not that spicy. You just get a little bit of a kick at the end. It's delicious. Go to killcliff.com and tell them that RRBG sent you. This episode is also brought to you by our good friends at Saints Joints. Go to saintsjoints.com to check out all the options that they have. They have these amazing packages with pre-roll joints, which will have pre-rolls from either side of the strain spectrum, either indica or sativa, and they even have multi-strain collections. Pick up one of their amazing Book of Saints. They currently have 2 volumes, volume 2 being a special Halloween edition. It looks like the Necronomicon. It's amazing. They're currently available in Washington and Oregon and will soon be available in California. Go to saintsjoints.com and tell them that RRBG sent you. This episode is also brought to you by our friends at Thunderking Coffee. Thunderking provides organic, air-roasted coffee straight out of Costa Mesa, California. It's seriously some of the best coffee I've ever had. My personal favorite is the Positive Morning Attitude. I order 2 pounds of this almost every 2 weeks because I just can't get enough. But they also have bottled cold brew. They have their special California Christmas peppermint cold brew out right now. You can order it from their website. So go to thunderkingcoffee.com and check it out. Support small, independent businesses, people. In this episode, it's the great and powerful Troy Sanders of Mastodon. Mastodon has a huge tour coming up with Ghost and Spiritbox. We talk a little bit about that tour package and what it's been like to be on the road post-pandemic. We talked about their latest album, Hushed and Grim, the tragedies that helped influence the writing of that album. We talked about their new music video for More Than I Can Chew. We talked about the live experience. We talked about beer. It was a great conversation. I hope you guys enjoy it. Please make sure to follow Mastodon at Mastodon Rocks on all the things. Check out his other bands, Killer Be Killed and Gone Is Gone. If you like this video, please give it a little like, leave a comment, subscribe to the channel if you could. Put the little bell notification so you can get notifications when we have new videos. And check out our Patreon page. Go to patreon.com/RRBG. I have some exclusive content up there, and I want to put up more. So please come support the podcast, and we can help grow this all together. Cheers. What's up, everyone? Welcome to the RRBG podcast. Today I'm being joined by the great Mr. Troy Sanders. How are you, brother?
That's too kind of you. Great. That's a nice... I'm good, man.
You're good? Okay, so let me try that. Let me start that over. What's up, everyone? Welcome. I'm just kidding. With the good Troy Sanders. How are you?
Well, sometimes I like to say, instead of just I'm doing good, I'm doing good enough.
You're doing good enough. That's all that matters, right?
That's acceptable, right?
Yeah, that's acceptable. You are honestly the one member of Mastodon that has eluded me over the years. I've hung out and become friendly with Braun and Brent and Bill, but you always seem to be kind of elusive. I think I ran into you at Amoeba once when you guys played at Amoeba Music, and that was about it. Like a brief. Hi,
it was that quick, right? Wow, do you think I've been avoiding you on purpose?
Yeah, I think so. No, I'm just kidding. Oh, man. You guys have a very exciting tour coming up. I believe in San Diego is the closest you're coming to like Los Angeles.
It is. That's where it starts, yeah.
Yeah, and you're opening with Ghost and Spiritbox. Spiritbox is opening the show, but are you a big fan of Spiritbox? I mean, have you checked them out? Have you had a chance to see them?
I just have heard them on Sirius satellite radio, both on the rock channel and the metal channel, and everything I've heard I really liked.
Okay,
and awesome production. Really powerful vocals, catchy riffs. So I look forward to befriending them, as we will be sharing stages and meals for a month straight. So I think they're cool.
It's a straight month, huh? I mean, you guys have done a couple tours post-pandemic. So how are you feeling now that we're out of this whole, weird 2-year period where we were, kind of questioning if there was going to be live music ever again? How are you feeling now?
Yeah, it definitely changed the perspective from myself and probably most people that kind of depended on, there's always going to be a bunch of tours to do. There's always going to be crowds there. There's always going to be that opportunity. But not the case, and it always takes those moments of something getting stripped away before you kind of realize the importance of it. The whole don't know what you got until it's gone kind of mentality. So, when we went back out to do the run across the States with Opeth, we did 2 legs of that so far this year, and they were both fantastic. We just returned from 35 days across Europe and the UK, Scandinavia, and that was great too. So to taste the US crowds as well as overseas, it's very evident that people are out and they're back and they're excited, and they missed it equally as much as the artists that travel and kind of depend on it for their livelihood. So overall, it was really fantastic, and that energy. I always call it the magic that happens between a crowd, but between a fan base or a crowd and the people on stage. Whether I'm at a show and feeling great, or on stage and the overall vibe and energy is really great. That's magic, and that can't be done with a live stream. And that's why people, instead of just watching a whole set on YouTube, they want to pay the big money to go see the damn show, because that energy happens once. I still go spend tons of money for concert tickets or sporting events because, I can watch it on the TV from the comfort of my home. But when you go there, there's something special there. And if you have the ability and the money to buy these tickets, sports, concerts, all the above, it's pretty special. So I'm really, really glad that it was back. That's for damn sure. Yeah. I speak for my whole band when I say that, for sure. Because, there was a while there, it was like, wow, do we need to get jobs and just maybe get together and record music for fun, or like what's happening? That uncertainty was very bizarre, and I didn't like it.
Yeah. I don't know many people that did. I mean, there's a few people that did. They're lazy asses that were like happy to be just home, not doing anything.
Right.
But there's a few things I wanted to bring up, like that energy, that magic you're talking about. There's to a smaller degree is also what's going on with movies. There's movies that were being released in theaters that are also just going straight to HBO Max or something. And I have friends that are like, oh, why am I going to go to the theater? It's like, well, is your TV like 200 feet tall? Like, do you have one of these ridiculous movie theater sound systems at home? I doubt it. It's not the same experience, than watching Dune at home versus going to like an IMAX or something.
Correct. Yeah. I understand both angles, of not wanting to leave home, save a bunch of money, comforts of your own kitchen and toilet, just a mere steps away. But I'm a fan of I've been traveling and touring for the bulk of my life, so I recognize how those moments that are always not guaranteed, and so I'm a big fan of going out there and doing it. And speaking of movie theaters, man, I need to get back out to the theater. I've only been a couple times over the past couple of years. And it's like every time I leave a movie theater, a bowling alley, or a comedy show, on the walk back to the car, I always look at my wife or whoever I'm with, and it's like, we have to do this more often. Why don't? And then, months and months later, then we'll go bowling. Months and months later, we go back to the theater. But, so there's something special about it. And
it's a special experience.
I don't think that'll ever die, no matter if movies are released right to the Netflix or whatever platform comes right into your living room. I certainly hope it doesn't die, because getting out there and hitting the theater is special too, and it kind of gets you out of your house. And I don't know, I'm a big fan. I'll just say that.
Yeah. Yeah. You don't have to go see every movie in the theater, but for special occasion movies, like a big spectacle like Dune or, one of the Marvel movies or whatever it is you're into, it's always nice to just have a day out, go out and experience life with other people too. Cause that's another magical thing about live shows and movies going to a theater is the people's reaction as well around you. Everybody else is laughing. Everybody else is shocked. And you also feel like an elevated sense of that,
Agree. Yeah, it's important. The human connection, even for the most introverted of us.
Yeah,
I think it's a good thing.
Yeah, absolutely. Speaking of that same magic, I wanted to bring up a little story. I haven't really brought this up with any of the other guys when I've talked to them, but I once took a drive from Miami to North Carolina to see you guys perform Crack the Sky at, I don't remember the venue. I want to say the Orange Peel, but I could be wrong. But my buddy decided to, my buddy Tommy, who rest in peace, but he decided to feed me a bunch of mushrooms before the show. And at one point during your set, I think it was during Czar or something, I ended up looking up and seeing what felt like an entity above you, like kind of projecting energy to the band, and then the band was projecting energy to the audience. And I just kept tapping my friend. I'm like, dude, do you see that? And he's like, what, bro? Is the screens? I'm like, no, not the screens. I see the screens. But yeah, do you feel that there is maybe perhaps some kind of energy, consciousness, something that's kind of takes control over you while you're performing that helps you kind of amplify whatever you're doing towards the audience?
Absolutely, man. Yeah. I think that stems from passion and your drive. And more often, I believe it's the fact that, when you're on stage for 1 hour a day, the other 23 hours, you're traveling, you're out, and you're grinding to do whatever it takes to do that 1 hour, whatever it is, of stage time. Mm-hmm. So it's got to mean when you're done with that stage, good show, bad show, great crowd, no crowd, whatever, you have to be relieved, exhausted in a beautiful way, having channeled your art to the people that are there, whether it's 400, 4,000, because that's the sole purpose of what got you in the dream world of trying to be on a stage in front of people that like your music in the first place. So I think there's, for me, for sure, 100%, it means the whole day. That defines my day. It's like people that have passion for any of their work. They go and they give it their all, and good day or bad day, they come home and they say, hey man, I gave it my all. Now I can have food, have a beer, go to bed, whatever. So, it means it means everything to me when we're on stage. So I do believe it amplifies whatever my character, my spirit, it's for sure an alter ego. It always has been. Mm. People that meet me, sometimes they say, wow, you seem like a very calm, mild spoken person. And sometimes on stage, you seem like a wild demon or something, Yeah. And I say, I think that's been my outlet for the bulk of my life, is getting, that's been how I channel my feelings, emotions, passions, whatever, through music. So I've always said that it's really incredible to have a bunch of bandmates that kind of share my vision or share each other's vision. And we're able to have these opportunities to tour and play shows for people. And whether they're on mushrooms or not, I hope that they feel, they walk away happy. That's always been the goal when you rely on, fans that pay money for tickets to consistently drive your livelihood. But I also find some of the best compliments ever is when people are on something, on some kind of trip, some kind of kick, with or without substance, just something where it touches them on even a more advanced level. And that just takes my magic point about, being on stage and the fans' reaction and that circle of energy that makes beautiful magic. That only elevates that to I find it harder to explain. You felt it, I was feeling it. And then we got to share this story with each other 10 years later or whatever.
Yeah, man.
So it's incredible, man. And anytime someone is complimentary of anything we do, whether it's a cool song title or a great record or a great live show, whatever, that's always great to hear. It's a compliment in its purest form, and it's art. So, we never expect all these people in this crowd, they're going to love our band tonight. Absolutely not. We put out an album. We know it's not going to please everybody. So, I feel art stems from a very selfish place where you create what you do and you put it out there. And if it's accepted, then great. And if it's not accepted, it should still feel great that you were able to put that painting on the wall. You're finishing that canvas. You completed your short video. You did your album, whatever it is.
Yeah.
You know, you crafted your own beer. You opened your restaurant. Where your passion lies and your enthusiasm is kind of what, you know, should comfort you at the end of the day and be like, hey, man, that was awesome. And one person liked it or more. It's fucking great, man. It's awesome.
Yeah. Yeah, people need to think about that a little more and focus on, when they're trying to create something, focus on the actual art of it and what you want to put out there instead of what are people going to think, you know, what are the comments going to say? Am I going to get a lot of likes? Like that's the kind of the world we live in now where everyone thinks, you know, because we have this technology at our fingertips, they think that everyone can be an artist or everyone can be a celebrity of some sort or be famous. And, you know, they go in with the wrong perspective as opposed to, hey, let me create something awesome. It's more, what can I do to get more likes, more videos, you know, more
right.
views or whatever.
And it concerns me with our young people, you know, like the 10-year-olds to 15-year-olds, especially. Like it's already difficult to, you know, navigate your way through life in those formative years. And with that handheld device, I don't know, man, it worries me, but it also carries over to like, if Mastodon was going to say, you know what, our next album is going to be a banger, worldwide success. It's going to elevate us to, you know, Hysteria from Def Leppard type stuff. We're going to do 10 solid radio hits. It's going, you know, the biggest hooks, whatever. We've never approached anything like that. Could we try to do that? For sure. Would it and could it elevate us to massive success compared to what we are now? Quite possibly. Would that, you know, allow us to go to, you know, to leave the practice room every night feeling really stoked on our riffs and what we accomplished that day? Not as much as it has the past 20 years, because it just, you know, it's tried and true and it's pure. And we have a formula, which is almost not having a formula. Our agenda is not having an agenda, you know, when it comes to creating music. But yeah, we're worrying about, like, if we try to write an album or a song that it was going to please almost the entirety of our fan base, first of all, that would be a pain in the ass to try to accomplish, and it probably wouldn't work, and it would overall be just a waste of our precious time. So are
there any little things that you, when you are writing a new album, you're like, well, we have to kind of do a couple of these things just to maintain our, you know, our sound, because you don't want to have Mastodon album come out with like dubstep out of nowhere. So like, is there are there any mandates? Like, okay, we do need to have a solo at some point. You know what I mean? Anything like that?
You know, I couldn't remember, or I cannot pinpoint or remember a single preconceived spoken conversation that we might have had with each other before writing. It's always comes, you know, it can start with just a riff that someone's is excited about. Like, I know it sounds basic, but I can see a bigger picture and we can put this other part to it and it can have a cool vocal there. So if someone's excited about even the simplest of an idea, it's worth focusing on and trying to build upon that, grow it into a second riff and ultimately a full song, and hopefully a great song that's on a collection of greater songs on an album. So we've never said we need a couple fast songs, we need a couple long progressive style songs like the Czar off Crack the Sky. We need to have something really, really aggressive like our old stuff to please our core fans from the beginning. And we need to have a radio song just because we need to maintain that angle. We don't say that stuff ever. It's just, you know, it's been the same four of us in the band for since we formed in 2000. So I think the formula is kind of not having a formula, and we just show up at the practice space, and whoever's got a good idea, we just kind of go for it. I can see how that wouldn't work for every other band out there. I recognize that we're fortunate that we've got these four people that come in with different musical backgrounds. And I think that's probably led to not really needing to talk about it, because we just want to be stoked with what we do. And it's hard to please all four of us. But if all four of us get to a spot with an album's creation when we're like, that's cool, I'm really proud of this, that's awesome, what a lot of work we just did, wow, I'm cool with it. You cool with it? Yep. High fives, hugs. And then it's kind of a done deal.
Yeah. That's awesome, man.
Yeah.
And you guys are now, you're reaching that point where you're becoming one of the longest standing bands that still has all of their original members, you know?
Yeah, it's bizarre, man. It's cool. That gets brought up a lot, you know. couple of years ago when we were like 18 years old as a band or so. And I was like, holy shit, we're doing something really rare, you know?
Yeah.
But, you know, there's no contractual obligation to be in this band. It's just started the way bands should be started. You meet some like-minded individuals who want to create music, and you jam and it feels good. You play a show and it's magical, and, you know, you keep it rolling.
Yeah.
But like any relationship, humans are not always guaranteed to grow together. There's fortunate circumstances, hard work, and, you know, and fate all aligning to say, you know what, I love this woman, she loves me, but all of a sudden we grew apart, we divorced. Yeah. Boyfriend, girlfriend, best friend since first grade, we grew apart. It's very normal to do that. Thankfully, we haven't.
That's great, man.
Yeah. I think we're all really grateful that it's, you know, we recognize that. So internally within the band, I think we're all you know, very grateful that it's worked out like that.
It's fantastic. I've been there, I want to say from the beginning. It wasn't all the way from the beginning, but I mean, I think I saw March of the Fire Ants on some music channel when they still played music videos on television. And I remember thinking, wow, this is one of the heaviest things I've ever heard, and weird and kind of scary. I'm in, you know, and right. I've been following ever since. Like, you know, we you know, I went with my old band. We went and saw you guys at like Culture Room when it was like a small, tiny room. And, you know, and then to see you now playing these giant arenas and, you know, laser shows, because I went to the one here at the Palladium, I think, with Opeth, and you guys had crazy lasers. It's such a beautiful, you know, evolution of the band. And, you know, even though we don't like, I know some of the guys personally, like, we're not homies where we're hanging out every day, I still feel a sense of pride. Like, oh, wow, look at how far they've come. And, you know, I'm still part of the journey too. So that's awesome. You know?
That's great to hear, man. And that's always what we've wanted too, is we've always encouraged and hoped that people that understood something about us that they liked, could latch onto, that they would just join us for the ride, the musical journey, because we're not writing music to specifically please you or our core base or our future fans, like I mentioned earlier. Yeah. It's just we're on this thing that we don't even know where it's going to lead, the next song, next album, next tour. So we've always appreciated people and that have latched on to some degree of us and continued following us and, you know, supporting our live shows or picking up the record or that's incredible. So we love hearing that. That's amazing.
So going into this tour, you know, how do you kind of, because it is 3 different bands, very different bands. You know, Ghost started off a little heavier, but has kind of gone a little more friendly for the ears, I guess I would call it. I'm not going to call it poppy because it's not. But like, you know, they've kind of veered away from like the heavy metal into a more accessible music. And then you got Spiritbox, who's kind of like extremely heavy, and you guys are somewhere in the middle. So how are you basing, like, you have such a huge catalog of songs to choose from. Like, how do you go about doing that?
Well, I personally enjoy these kind of package tours. I like them all and I'll try to kind of put this in a nutshell. Like, we've been fortunate to tour with almost every one of our favorite heavy bands. We've toured with Iron Maiden, Slayer, Slipknot, Tool, Judas Priest, you know,
Alice in Chains.
all of our favorites. We've been so fortunate over the years to have done tours with all of them, you know, Deftones, Alice in Chains. Yes. And that's awesome. Without us going to a co-headline like us and Opeth, like we just did for 6 weeks this year, there's not many other bands that we can open for now that this headliner's crowd some of them will know us and some of them will have no idea who we are. We don't get that opportunity very often. So I like that. You know, we've done this over time, like it's been 12 years now, but we went out and did a full co-headlining tour with Against Me. We loved their band. They loved our band. But our crowd base, we shared a few of the same core fans, but otherwise it was vastly different. They got a lot of fans from us. We got a lot of fans from them. So I liked that. But almost everywhere, when there's a metal fan that wear like their denim battle jackets, there's always a Ghost patch right next to the Slayer, the Maiden, the Creator, the King Diamond. It's part of that aesthetic of heavy metal. Yeah, you know, their appeal overall to me is right up there with all the jackets that are loaded with patches that people wear. So I know a lot of Ghost fans are familiar with us, but because they become so massive on mainstream rock radio, a huge portion of their fans are probably going to have no idea who we are.
Yeah.
I like that. I want to get in front of, I like familiar faces, but I'm also excited because it doesn't happen very often to get in front of new faces that are like, who are these guys? And hopefully, just like you 20 years ago could find something about us as we're the main support for Ghost, to be like, I like that band. I'm going to see their music video tomorrow, or I might buy their t-shirt tonight. That's how it keeps our career going. It's moments like this. And so I embrace this tour. And I know that Spiritbox is really gaining popularity fast.
Oh, yeah.
So when I put my mind or when I put myself in the mind of a concert goer, I think that's a great package. Whether you know all of the bands or not, that's going to get me to spend whatever the tickets are. I don't know, probably close to $100 when it's all said and done with convenience fees and whatnot. I have no idea what they are. Yeah. But that's going to hopefully propel you to get off your ass, get out of the house, go to that arena and see these three bands who are out there. We're doing it. And if you don't like the music, just sit back and watch the lasers, and
when did the decision come in to bring in lasers? Because to me, lasers, and this is no disrespect, I'm old, and you're, so it feels like classic rock, like when I was in 1992, I saw Pink Floyd Pulse, and it was all lasers, and that's when I was like, when I saw you guys with lasers, I'm like, oh man. Am I old? And I'm like, no. Is this classic rock?
For us, we did a 7-week European tour supporting Tool in 2006. So we got done playing, and we would always be excited to watch the whole Tool set. And they have, massive video walls, massive lasers. And after that tour, we said, and this is 2006, so 16 years ago, we said, if we ever play arenas, we're bringing lasers. Well, before this tour that we're about to embark on, we got, we had the itch, and we went out and we, spent a ton of money on production and lasers and hiring someone who's legally permitted to run them, and added them to the show that we just did this whole past year. So we like to look at them, and we know that other people do too. So
yeah. Hell yeah.
If you don't like our band, just watch the video and watch the lasers.
Watch the lasers.
It's a win-win situation, right?
For sure. It's, you got to put on a good show, regardless of what it is. Like, people have different tastes in music, so that's going to always be, it's always going to be a thing you fight against. But like you said, if you put on a good show with lasers and stuff, at least they can watch that,
nothing wrong with a little eye candy, I hope.
Yeah. So you also have a new video out for More Than I Could Chew. And that was awesome, by the way. I immediately dropped it on my Facebook. I'm like, what? It's got this vintage kind of horror feel to it. Tell me a little bit about, did you have any input with the creation of the video?
Yeah, the director, Zev, came with a treatment that was going to incorporate a classic monster type vibe. So right away we're like, okay, we're interested in that. And then we just saw, a selection of his previous work. And it seemed like, wow, if you're interested in doing this with us and the work that you do is fantastic. Yes, music video it is. And we had the time to be all together in Atlanta to get our parts filmed, because we haven't been of the past 4, 5, 6 videos we've done, we've been in 2 or 3 of them, and we've not been in the other few. So it was cool. He just wanted us to, get monstered up and just you kind of trust someone's body of work when you see what they've done. It's like, wow, that's badass. And you're excited to work with me. We're excited to work with you. That's how great relationships are blossomed, Yeah. So he did a fantastic job. We shot it in Atlanta. He did the monster and the girl scenes on a soundstage in New York. Sent us the rough cut, and we were just like, wow, that's like our live show with lasers. We need to continue building. We've played over 1,000 shows. We need to keep building on that. We put out a lot of videos. We need to keep building on that. Just not to see another video of the 4 of us in an old warehouse jamming. That's okay, but if we can and we have the budget to do so, take it to the next level. Step it up, have it interesting. I want music videos are so short-lived. Sometimes if it's mediocre or less, you see it once, I'm like, I saw the new so-and-so video. Yes, I did. But you saw it, you liked it, and you said you reposted it or something. Yeah. That's the difference. So we try to, production and up the eye candy and up the integrity or the creativeness of music videos, just like we do with our own songs and our live sets. Yeah. So always, and I'm glad that all four of us are still on the same page about sinking more money into this and sinking more money into this, because I can imagine, like, guys, we've been doing this for 20 years. Like, it's fine. Just put it out. Yeah. People will like it. I could see that being an easy conversation. But thankfully we're still pushing ourselves, and, we're still very much into writing newer, fresher, better, bigger albums, playing a better show tonight than we did last night, and hoping that the next music video is better than the last, or at least different and living in its own world. So the creation, the creative well that we collectively share is far from dry.
That's great, man. Because that is the downfall of an artist, to me, in my perspective. When you get comfortable, when you start thinking like, oh yeah, I've been doing this, I know what I'm doing, just fucking put it out there. That's when you start getting lazy. Things start not being as good, and people can tell. That you're just phoning it in.
Yeah, I guess that's when you become complacent and it's like, that's good. That song's good. We don't need to work on it anymore.
Yeah.
Or this, that video's all right. No need to edit it. It's fine the way it is. Yeah, I think over time people would see through that, and I'm glad we're not headed in that direction.
But it is a thin line too, especially for people that are creating that may not be, at the level you guys are at, just kind of trying to get started, where they're writing music or maybe it doesn't have to be music. It could be painting, whatever. They always have this like nagging, like, oh, I'm not done. It's never going to be done. If you're a good artist, you should never feel that feeling of like, that's done, put it out. So yeah, don't let it discourage you if you're a young up and coming artist, musician, whatever it may be. Like, that feeling is good. That's a good feeling to have.
And if you have, if you trust in your bandmates, or if you're a solo painter and you trust in your best friend or your, colleague, you need some assistance sometimes to say, hey, that painting is done. Put the brushes down. Yeah. You need help, because you could go on. You could make this song longer. We could add another solo at the end. We could come back and repeat the beginning, do it again, or a painting like, nope, we could do more color here. Like, when to stop. It can be very tricky. So having a trustworthy opinion from an outsider, a best friend, or in our world, sometimes we need a producer to come in and say, here's our demos. What are they? What's happening? Because
what can we do with this?
We're so deep in it. We don't know if they're really good or they're just decent ideas, or, So yeah, it's okay to ask for help.
Yeah,
that's for damn sure.
Absolutely. I wanted to bring something up, because I asked Braun about this, and I wanted to ask you, do you feel a lot of your albums, especially this last one and Crack the Sky and everything, are tied to pretty tragic events in your life, in your personal life?
Yeah.
Does that make it difficult when you're on stage to perform? Does it like dredge up these, tragedies? Do you see it as a potential problem where, like, man, if we keep writing these albums about tragedies, like, it's eventually going to get too much?
Yeah. Yes, but more no. Yes, it can be, daunting when it's like each night you're recreating a very heavy set of songs that aren't they're not happy.
Yeah.
But I found early on, and I would imagine my guys would agree, that from those type of moments or experiences comes some really, it can potentially come some really great art. And it's also, I realized after we did Crack the Sky, I was like, man, we're being very vulnerable here. And, but I was like, but we're artists, and what, like, if people can latch onto that and connect to us, not only musically, but on a personal level, it should be relatable worldwide, because we're just going through the same thing that you've gone through or will go through. We're not bigger than you or better than you. It's like, this is how we're dealing with this. And we're always trying to turn something heavy and dark into something beautiful and light, by having a pretty song and put it on a record. That record lives forever, whether it's a tribute or whatever. But it's always channeled from from darkness, more often than not, after Crack the Sky. That's why we had that knee-jerk reaction. It's like, okay, The Hunter, let's have some fun, short, sweet songs, lyrical subject matter, and then with Hushed and Grim, losing our best friend and manager for 15 years, there's no way that we were not going to dive in to the effect that he had on our lives.
Absolutely, yeah.
There was no way we could avoid that or ignore that. No way. So we knew it was going to be a heavily daunting task emotionally.
Hi, buddy.
Yeah, my little greyhound came to say hi.
I have two of them locked away in a room somewhere.
Nice. She just came barreling through the door. But with Hushed and Grim, we knew what we had to do, and with a little time on our hands because of pandemic 2020, we wound up writing enough. We didn't intend on doing a double album. It just grew into so many songs that we didn't want to cut any of them. Very, very dark and heavy thematically. But every night that we've played these songs since the record came out on stage, it makes me feel good because ultimately now it's more of a celebratory thing. And I know that I'm on that stage because of this dude, Nick John, who found our band 2004, signed us and just worked his ass off and changed our lives. Each and every transaction he did along the way was always for the better. So there's no way that we couldn't just pour as much gratitude into a record of sadness and gratitude, I guess. And it's not a lot of smiles and laughter, but it's really serious, and it's a tribute and a dedication to him each and every night. So.
And a beautiful album it is, man. I'm a little sad I still haven't received my vinyl. Even though I walked into Amoeba and I saw it on the shelf, I'm like, I could just buy it and then, I don't know, give away my pre-order whenever it arrives.
Still don't have one.
No, it's weird. I emailed Warner Brothers about it, and they were like, sorry, just, stuff.
I've got a stack of 20 of them right here I'm looking at. When this is done, shoot me your mailing address. I'll put one in the mail to you today, I promise. No problem.
Oh, well, I appreciate that. That's not why I brought it up, but thank you.
I mean, I got 20 there, and I've got no friends, so I've got one now.
I doubt that you have no friends. Come on. Speaking of friends, like you've got two other bands, that you're in too, because you're a maniac and you don't stop working.
Yeah, those like most people that have multiple bands or projects, they stem from a fun aspect, most of the time. I think it's from sharing stages, or you're playing at a festival, or you meet somebody after your show and you're having a good time. You're like, dude, we start a band together. That's how it always starts. Yeah. And 1 out of 10 times you have that conversation, it happens. I've probably had 15, 20 of those conversations, but the ones, and the next day you realize, oh yeah, that dude was cool. And he likes me. I like him too. And we said we were going to start a band, so I'm going to hit him up and see how he really felt about that idea. That's how my two other bands have happened, and they're fun as hell to do. If they weren't super enjoyable, I wouldn't do it at all, because Mastodon, thankfully, keeps me busy enough where I don't need to leave the house any more than I already do, as we practice all the time and we have a healthy touring schedule again. Yeah. So I don't really want to leave the house unless it's worthy. And right. when I jam with the other guys in my other two bands, it's a great time, and it's very valid. It's pure, it's for fun. There's no expectations. There's no pressure on your shoulders for the next album or whatever. It's the same way you start a band when you're 16 years old. You find some friends that you really appreciate. You get together and make music with them. And if something good happens, voila.
Yeah, man. And you've got such a distinct voice that, it's hard to achieve, actually, to have that unique sounding voice. Because whenever you hear, Kill or Be Killed or Gone is Gone, that's you.
Nice.
Whoever's listening to that, like, oh yeah, that's Troy. That's got to be Troy. If it's not him, someone's trying to be Troy. You know what I mean? How did you? I mean, when Mastodon started, there wasn't a whole lot of singing going on.
No,
it's something that developed over the years.
Yeah. The first 3 or 4 months of Mastodon, we had a fifth member who was our vocalist. But once we started working on our first song or two, I immediately started booking tours, DIY tours up the East Coast of the United States. Our band's based in Atlanta. on our very first run, our singer at the time just realized couldn't do it. He wasn't in a good space to be in a touring, live in a van and make no money.
Yeah.
So he backed out, and we had more tours booked. I had booked VHF halls, basements, boat sheds. We play anywhere. And so my guitar player Brent and we just said, hey man, instead of like finding another guy and auditioning people on this tour coming up, me and you will just step up and just give it our best, because no one knows who we are anyway. And they haven't, so we said, yeah, we just kept it simple. So Brent and I just stepped up to the mic, and over time we just kind of picked up on it and never wanted to spend the time or energy to, look for a vocalist. So yeah, it kind of just fell into place. And of course, when you scream your ass off after a handful of years and you got melodic parts, it's like, hey, maybe we could put some vocal melody to counteract this guitar part, So it's been a very slow process. And, it took us a while to really hone in on our vocals, especially in the live environment. But we've been better than ever as of this album, the touring cycle, in my ears at least. So it's been a work in progress. But yeah, thankfully, Brent, myself, and our drummer Braun have all stepped up to the mic and all have distinctly different voices that we've been able to make it work when we can all chime in on a certain song or a record overall. So thankfully that's worked out.
That's also true. I forgot, like Brent's got a very unique voice too, and so does Braun. They all have their own distinct sound, and yours, you didn't take any lessons, like any classes or anything. You just kind of kept pushing yourself.
Yeah.
So I felt that with each album, that you were like trying new things, like going a higher register, try and hold this note longer. Like I see you pushing yourself.
Yeah, because we all play instruments. I think it took us. We've always been players first, and it took us multiple albums to realize, hey, we should probably start focusing more on our vocals as well. So we were very, very much late bloomers on that issue. But like I said, I feel like we're all singing as good as ever, at near peak potential, because we're taking better care of our bodies on tour. And we realize that we don't want people to get a glimpse of our band by a really terrible iPhone clip where we sound like a bunch of, cats up there. Like, so, we've taken it more seriously as time has gone along. But yeah, it's just kind of was a very long but natural progression.
Speaking of vocalists, this is something I'm sure you've all thought of. I mean, you've kind of done a thing, but I wanted to express the desire on my end for a potential Mastodon with Scott Kelly album / tour, whatever it may
be. We've done two tours across Europe that we did all 8 songs with Scott. Scott toured with us, and we always wanted to bring that to the States as well.
Yeah. I would love to see that. I would also like an EP of just songs with him, like 4 new just Scott Kelly songs or something. That way you have like a full album worth of Scott Kelly songs with Mastodon,
We share that dream with you. Whether it happens or not, I don't know. But we love Scott dearly, and we've always appreciated his friendship. He's been a musical hero and a dear friend for a long time now. So we love Scott very, very much.
Nice, man. Also, I see the bottles behind you. Are you collecting all of your Mastodon beers?
I do. I have one of each.
Nice.
Which I believe is, I counted 14. I might be missing 1 or 2. I'm not sure. But we have 14 official beers that have been done by 11 breweries. Wow. I think McKellar did a couple, and Marsbrau out of Germany did 3. So maybe 9 or 10 breweries for the 14 or maybe 15 different beers that we've put out.
Nice.
So, yeah, I always thought, whenever a long time ago, before we had a beer, when a band had a beer, I thought that was the pinnacle of success, because you don't achieve that as a band. Like, we're going to stick together as a band and one day we're going to have a beer, at least I've never heard of that as a common goal. But I remember seeing like, so-and-so, they have a beer. Like, that's incredible. That's like 2 worlds that came together. That's truly hand in hand, So when our first beer hit, I was like, this is amazing. And then our drummer Braun has been spearheading the communications and relationships with various breweries around the world. So he's in a huge part of that success of us having multiple beers being released. but it makes me pretty damn happy to have multiple beers being released over the past 10, 12 years.
Yeah, man, have all been pretty great too. I think I've gotten all of them as well. I know recently with the Hushed and Grim series, like I got all 4, I think it was.
Yeah, it was 4. Yeah.
I went out and I reached out to every brewery. I'm like, guys, I have money and like, I'll promote you on the show, whatever you want. Nice. Please send me a 4-pack. And
right.
I got to go to the release of the Emperor of Sand one, which was that big bottle. I think it's the big the one on the right.
Yep.
Yeah, I got to go to the release. I met up with Braun out there at McKellar, and what an amazing beer. 14% ridiculous stout with a bunch of spices and shit.
Yeah. Remember they were like, here, before we played, they're like, here they are. Here's the release, would you like to try some? And I was like, dude, that's a heavy beer. Like, I need to play soon. I have a lot of words to remember and a lot of notes to play.
Yeah.
Good times.
Yeah.
Beer is great. Beer is the blessing and the curse.
Blessing and the curse. As long as you can keep it under control, you're good. You can have a couple beers here and there. That's not but if you're one that's pounding a 24-pack a day, you got to maybe slow down.
That's impressively intense, but it's so damn good.
Just a couple real quick. Do you have any prized possessions of memorabilia in your house? Like, what's your favorite piece of like that goes with you wherever you move?
Oh, wow. That's a good question, man. I've got a vinyl LP tote that's got one of every release I've ever been a part of. Oh, wow. So it's like a musical documentary of my life, I guess. That's pretty important just because that shows, like, if you didn't know anything about me and I was a dead person, you came to my house and someone said, this is what he did. Well, here's 30 albums worth of stuff that I was a part of. So that's probably been my biggest accomplishment. So I guess I definitely consider that a prized possession or my proudest achievement over a body of work, if you will. Other than that, man, I put all my family photos in digital form so they don't get burned up if there's a house fire.
Good call.
So that's good to go. So shit, I've always felt like if our house flooded or caught fire, what do we need to grab? And it's basically at this point, albums can be replaced. Yeah. Basically, it's just grab the dogs, get out.
Grab the dogs and get out. You don't have like a little statue that was given to you by Rob Halford or something that you're like, okay, I'm putting this over here. No one needs to see that.
I've got some, the Grammy trophy. Own one of those. I have a stack of receipts on my desk where I put the Grammy on top of. So if anyone ever asks, I say, yeah, it's a paperweight. That's always good for a laugh.
Yeah.
But yeah, everything is replaceable, So I don't really have something I could really just say, dude, yes, it's this. Most of the band oriented stuff, like trophies and accolades we've been gifted. We put those all at our practice space in Atlanta and, just have a big shelf full of that stuff.
Cool.
So yeah, a couple of greyhounds, man. That's my prized possession, I guess.
Well, yeah, you got to take care of the babies. That's the most important part. They're part of the family. People don't think that way sometimes, but I don't get it. Anyway, it's we're up time wise, so I'm going to wrap this up. Everybody that's I could talk to you all day, but everybody that's watching and listening, pick up Hushed and Grim if you have not. Incredible double album. Watch the video for More Than I Can Chew. It's out now. If you're in any of the cities or close to any of the cities that they're going to with Ghost and Spiritbox, please go. I'm going to drive down to San Diego. That's like a 2.5 hour drive. I'm going to go watch that. So there's no excuse. An hour or 2 hour drive is not that bad. Get in your car and drive to the nearest city. But do you have any kind of social media for people to follow you or anything like that?
I have 0.
Nice. How is that?
I've been told it's, I like it. I live pretty simply. But I recognize the power of it of having media and when done correctly. But no, I'm a caveman. I still live under a rock. I don't know what's going on in the news. I don't know where my friends are on vacation at. I don't know much at all. You know, I don't know what bands are rolling through town. Okay. So there is a downside of being clueless on a social level. But no, I've got no way for people to get a hold of me or follow anything that I do.
Follow at Mastodon Rocks.
Yeah.
Follow at Killer Be Killed, I think is the URL. You could probably just search Killer Be Killed, search for Gone Is Gone. That way you can keep in touch in case he releases new music, since there's no other means. But dude, thank you so much. This means a lot. It means a lot to me to have you on the show. Like I said, you've been the one member that has eluded me, but we're here. And guys, thank you for watching and listening. Cheers.